Hi everyone! Today I chose a very interesting topic that I'm going to talk about. It's called negative harmony. Well, what is negative harmony anyways? It's similar to palindromes like mom and dad, but it's in music. So when you have a melody, it would be the mirror image of that melody. So some people call the melody the overtone and the negative harmony is the undertone. Some people call it O tonality and U tonality. So the overtone series, it's a bunch of notes that characterize a chord based on frequencies of pitch, vibrations. So some of it would go like this. So that would be the melody side of it, but what if you talk about the undertone series? So you would just reverse the intervals so it would sound like this. And so on. That sounds very different, right? Well, this interesting topic of the undertone series or negative harmony is explained by Jacob Collier. So to break down negative harmony, let's start with a simple C major. So the step one is to find the tonic, which is just the first scale degree, and then the dominant, which is the fifth scale degree. So the dominant is basically the fifth scale degree of any scale. So in C major, you would have C as the tonic and G as the dominant. You would play what's called a chromatic scale, where you play every single half step. So from C, you would play an ascending chromatic scale, and from G, the dominant, you would play a descending chromatic scale until both the C and the G end up clashing at one or two notes. So you start with C and G. So you go up a half step from C to get C sharp, and down a half step from G to get F sharp. So C and G, C sharp and F sharp, D and F, and E flat and E. So as you know, there's no note that you can play that's between E flat and E. So right between those two notes would be your axis. So everybody knows the number line where zero's in the middle, and then you have the positive numbers to the right and the negative numbers to the left. Well, in music, the axis would basically be your zero. So all of the notes to the right of zero would be the positive melody side. So after the positive side of the axis, which is E, E would be your 1, F, which is a half step up, would be your 2, F sharp would be your 3, G would be your 4, that's the dominant, G sharp would be your 5, and A would be your 6. But you know, on the other side of the number line, you have the negative values. So from the negative side of the axis for C major, you have E flat, and you go a half step down, and after negative 1, which is what E flat is, you'd have D as negative 2, C sharp as negative 3, C, which is the tonic, at negative 4, B as negative 5, and B flat as negative 6. You can think of the positive notes as the absolute value of the negative notes. So if you have a positive note and want to make it negative, so if you have the dominant, which is G, then you would multiply it by negative 1, or you could just add a negative sign to it to speak in less math terms. So 4 would now become negative 4. So the negative of G is C. So now we're getting into like negative G and positive C. Yeah, it's a really interesting topic. So other negative pairs or symmetrical counterparts, you could have maybe, let's say F. So as you can see, F is number 2 on the number line, because E is the positive side of the axis, and then that's number 1, so F is number 2. And you want -2 as your negative value. So you start from E flat, which is -1, and then D is -2. So negative F would be equal to positive D. So all of the pairs would be C, so negative C would be positive G, positive F would be negative D, B flat, which is -6, that would be A, which is 6 on the number line, and then E flat, which is the negative side of the axis, would be E as the positive value. Then A flat or G sharp would go to B because G sharp is number 5, G sharp or A flat is number 5 on the number line, so -5 would be B. And lastly, D flat or C sharp, which is -3 on the number line, would become F sharp, which is 3. So those are all of the symmetrical counterparts or negative pairs. So if you want to find the negative of chords, then the step 1 would be to map out the notes. If you take F major 7, the notes are F, A, C, and E. So if you use the axis diagram that I just showed you before, then you would just locate the notes on the chart. So on the chart, you can see that F is number 2, A is number 6, C is -4, and E is number 1. So if you start at F, since you know that's 2, you just need -2, so -2 would be D. So instead of an F, you would have a D. You look at A, which is 6 on the number line, and then you go to -6, which is B flat. You have D and B flat. Now you have a C as the melody, not the negative harmony, the melody. So C is -4, so to find the negative harmony, you just go to +4. So you have G. So far you have B flat, D, and G. You just need one more note, which is the negative of E. So E is number 1. So E flat would be -1. So now you have all of your new numbers, and you would make the chord B flat, D, E flat, G. If you invert it back to root position, you can see that it's an E flat major 7th chord. So there are many other examples of how you can map out the notes of any chord to get its negative counterpart. If you have a C major 7th, you have the notes C, E, G, and B. If you find that on the axis chart, so your first note is C, which is the tonic, so its symmetrical counterpart would be G, which is on the opposite side of the diagram. So the C would map to G. Then the E would move on to the opposite side of the axis, so E flat. So far you have that. After that you have the G. So the opposite of G, which is the dominant, would be C, the tonic. So you have a C minor chord so far. But you have one last note, which is the 7th of the C major chord, or B. That'll give you a different chord other than the C minor chord. So if you look on the opposite side of B on the diagram, you would get A flat or G sharp. So now you have this A flat major 7th chord. So notice how different they are. The C major chord you started with and its symmetrical counterpart, A flat major 7th. So the axis is different in every key. So if you find the axis of a different key, like the G major maybe, You start at G, which is the tonic, and the fifth scale degree or dominant is D. So you play the chromatic scale. So G is the tonic, and the fifth scale degree, D, is the dominant. So you would play an ascending chromatic scale from G and a descending chromatic scale from D. So you would do this until you end up at 1 or 2 notes. So now the axis is between B flat and B. So B flat would be your -1 and B would be your 1 in that case, where the axis is still 0. But when you remain in C major, you still have the E flat as -1 and the E as +1. To map out the other diatonic chords in C major, after C major you would have the D minor 7. So as you can see, between C and G over here, this line would be your axis. So this would be the positive side until G flat, and C to C sharp would be your negative side. So if you want to map out the D minor 7, you would start at D, since that's your tonic in the chord. So as you can see, it's 2 spaces to the right of the axis. So you would basically just do the opposite of that to get to the negative of D. So it's a mirrored pair, so you would just mirror the same thing 2 units to the left of the axis. So D, which is 2 units to the right of the axis, would now become F, which is 2 units to the left of the axis. So D would become F, and then F, which is in the D minor 7 chord, since it's 2 spaces to the left of the axis, then F would turn into D. So D, the mirror of D is F, and the mirror of F is D. So moving on to the dominant note of the D minor 7, that's A. So you would go count how many spaces there are between the axis and A. So G, D, A. So A is 3 units to the right of the axis. So to find the opposite of A, you go 3 units to the left of the axis. So C, F, B flat. So the negative of A is B flat. So for the last note, which is the 7th chord, it's 1 unit to the left of the axis. So its opposite would just be G, which is 1 unit to the right of the axis. So now let's think about all of the negative notes that we now have from the D minor 7. So D mapped out to F, and F mapped out to D. So you have D and F as 2 of your notes. And then the A, which is 3 units clockwise, it mapped out to B flat. So far you have D, F, and B flat. And the last note, C, mapped out to G. So now you have G, B flat, D, F. So the D minor 7 chord that you started with, it will become a G minor 7 chord because it's the negative harmony. The next diatonic chord in C major would be the E minor 7 chord. So let's look at the circle of fifths to find out how to convert that to the negative chord. So you know the notes of the E minor 7 chord are E, G, B, and D. So let's first start with the tonic. So the tonic is 4 spaces away from the axis. So you go 4 spaces in the other direction. So C, F, B flat, E flat. So E flat would be your counterpart. So after E, you have G. So G is only 1 unit to the right of the axis. So its counterpart would be C, which is 1 unit to the left of the axis. So far you have C and E flat. Now let's move on to B in the E minor 7 chord. So B is over here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units to the right of the axis. So just count 5 units to the left of the axis. And A flat is your new note. Now, for the last note, the 7th, which is D, it's 2 units to the right of the axis, so you just count 2 units to the left of the axis, and you have F. So E mapped out to E flat, G mapped out to C, and B mapped out to A flat, and D mapped out to B flat. So your new chord would be an F minor 7 chord because you have the notes F, A flat, C, and E flat. So an E minor 7 chord would map out to an F minor 7 chord. So the 4 chord in C major is the F major 7 chord. So the notes, as we talked about before, are F, A, C, and E. So F is 2 units to the left, so you go 2 units to the right. So F maps out to D. A would have a negative of B flat. C would have a negative of G. And E would have a counterpart of E flat. So your new chord is E flat, G, B flat, D, which we talked about before as an E flat major 7. So the 5 chord is also major, but it's dominant, so it's G, B, D, F, not G, B, D, F sharp, because it's in the key of C major, so there are no sharps or flats. So G, the tonic, would be C, B would be A flat, G goes to C, so B goes to A flat, D goes to F, and F goes to D. So your new chord would be a D half diminished chord because the 7th isn't double flatted. Using the circle of fifths strategy, you can figure out the other negative harmonies. So G7 would become D half diminished. A minor 7 would become C minor 7. B half diminished would become B flat 7. So the melodies that we had before were the diatonic chords of C major, so and the negative harmonies were the diatonic chords of A flat major descending. So it was C major ascending and A flat major descending. So that's a cool pattern that I see from finding all of these negative harmonies. So for just a reference guide, the 1 chord, so in C major, the 1 chord, it would map out to the major flat 6th chord. And that may sound a little confusing, but all it is you find the flat 6th interval from C and you go to A flat. So A flat is a flat 6th, and you just construct a major 7th chord going from A flat. So since A flat is a flat 6th of C, then your flat 6 major 7th chord would just be A flat major 7. Your minor 2 chord, so D minor in this case, would map out to the 5 chord, but it's a minor 7th. So you would have the 5 chord of C major, which is G, but it would be a minor 7th because of the negative harmony. So the minor 3 chord would map out to the 4 chord, but it's a minor chord instead of a major chord. But the major chord in C major, the 4 chord, F major 7th, that would lead to the flat 3 major 7th chord. Your flat 3 chord, which is a major 7th chord, would be a major 7th chord off of E flat. So E flat major 7. The minor 6th chord would have a negative counterpart of the diminished 2 chord, half diminished 2 chord. So you just construct a half diminished chord on the second note of the C major scale. So that would be your D half diminished chord. And for the last chord of the C major scale, which is B diminished, that would lead to the flat 7th. So the flat 7th of C major is the B flat, and you construct a dominant 7th chord on top of that. So that would be your B flat 7 chord. So those are just the basic Roman numeral references for negative harmony and its overtone or melody, whatever you want to call it. So I made the negative harmony of Twinkle Twinkle. Give a listen to this. I'm sure you can tell that did not sound like Twinkle Twinkle. Using negative harmony, you can make a song sound totally different from what it actually is. I hope this video gave you a little insight on negative harmony. Please like my video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.